What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Works YouTube channel. So unfortunately this week was a little less productive than I would have liked. Spent a lot of time getting stuff for the welder set up, and I spent some time with my aunt who's visiting for a little while. She's currently moving down here, so I spent some time with her. Tried not to be a terrible person and spend most of my time in the garage while she was here. So I basically boiled my work down to yesterday and today. And yesterday was basically running around getting all the stuff for the welder set up, which got it to work. I have a couple of videos that I'm gonna clip in. We didn't get the big bottle today because there's a miscommunication between me and the other guy, and the bottle that I thought he was trying to sell me and the bottle that he actually was trying to sell me were not the same thing. So I would have just ended up with another small bottle. So I said, it wasn't worth the time. So I will have to send that bottle to be refilled because I have blown through all of it with the little bit of welding I did do. Take a quick preview. So we did this section here and the tight bend in here. I got this little gap problem here that I gotta take care of. And then we did have to modify this one because we got a new alternator bracket because streetcar needs an alternator. But as you can see, there's not a lot of space in here. So I'm working on moving that pipe to be just a little bit clearer. What I did is I cut that pipe and then I re-welded it so it comes out a little further. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna have to cut in this section and push this further out, just bring it this way, because the new flange sits a little higher than before. But we're gonna make sure it's clear of everything so that we're not melting wires and stuff. And then I will have to wire up the actual plug and stuff like that. I'm gonna have to extend it because obviously it was for the passenger side originally, and now it's on the driver's side. But that does fit. It clears tight, obviously. At a very minimum, that section of that header will get wrapped just so we're safe and clear. But again, I should have another couple of inches of clearance from the alternator. I may or may not link a picture. Actually, I will, because what I'll do is when I end this video, I'm gonna throw the crossover pipe back on and see where it lands because I had stopped earlier. As you can see, it's very warm in the garage. I have the doors shut and stuff like that, but it's way too hot to spend multiple hours in here. I stay hydrated and do all that stuff, but it still gets very hot very quickly, especially when you're welding. So I kind of limit how much time I'm out here. But I do have the new alternator bracket. It does line up. It is the proper spacing for the crank pulley. So now we will be able to put a belt on it, which means once the resistors come in, which were ordered today, it will be fully operational in that sense, and we won't have to chase any more basic equipment other than the water system. And the water system's only on hold until I get information from a local shop about some tubing so I can do the water lines like I was talking about. And then it's just mounting the water pump actually, which I haven't worked on yet. Probably should. I'd be smart. You can see the seats on the roof of the car. I'm starting to work on, putting holes and stuff. I'm not even gonna show you in there. It's kind of gross right now. But I gotta make brackets and stuff like that. The TIG welding took most of my attention. I was trying to get it all dialed in. It is not pretty. Hold on. I need to make sure I do this because I have some people that are gonna yell. We used a real helmet. Don't worry. I did a test the other day. And I got yelled at all over Facebook because I used cutting glasses, not welding glasses. I do have a pair of welding goggles as well as the helmet. And it was just a matter of, I put the goggles in a box and forgot about it. I couldn't find them, and I wanted to make sure that I had everything for the welder and it was functioning. So I threw on the cutting glasses, made a small weld, and just verified that it worked. Other problem with the welder is I'm doing a bunch of thin stuff, and I've got this rather thick wire that I bought, like a dummy. So it doesn't melt at the same rate as the metal that I'm trying to fuse. So it's a finesse thing trying to get it to melt enough where I'm not just doing a fusion weld, but it's still adding material and it's doing a proper weld and I'm getting proper penetration. Whether I'm doing that or not, I guess we'll find out. But the downpipe is getting worked on. Once the tank's refilled, I can do some more. It's gonna suck. It's probably gonna take 2 or 3 trips back to the welding store to get the bottle filled up in order to finish just the downpipe. After that, a lot of the welding is smaller stuff, the aluminum stuff for the water lines, and then seat brackets and stuff. Small, 1-inch welds here and there. The small tank will last a little while, but until I get to that point, it's going to be a pain in the ass having to go back and forth to the welding shop and have it filled. Thankfully, it's not that bad down here. It's like $24 to have it filled, but I played with it a little bit and I did that. And like I said, I did weld this whole thing. There's a video on the crossover weld. It's not pretty. I haven't welded TIG weld. I haven't TIG welded, not efficiently or in any real amount in a very long time. I did go to school for it, so I understand the basic principles of it. I have been asking some people. Shout out to Derek Welder at All In Fab for being nice enough to give me a couple of heads up tips and pointers. Matt at Fab Matt, also huge thanks, giving just some basics in order for me not to totally screw this up. So there's a picture of the weld table setup, which is a mess right now. But before I screwed it all up, there was a picture at the end of the video. Keeping it very simple. I want to make it as simple as I possibly can, so it's just user-friendly, and then it's cheap and effective. It's just a garage setup, so I didn't want to spend a crazy amount of money. And there's a startup video. I went and started it up for the first time in a little over a week. It is on E85, so that's one of those things. It did take a little bit of time to get everything back where it needed to be so it would run. And then it ran good. It sounded good with the crossover, and it wasn't pinging. It wasn't making any funny sounds. It didn't have that Subaru unequal length sound to it, which I was very nervous about considering how, you can see that there. Oh, that's your passenger side one. This is your driver's side. So they're significantly different sizes. And I really didn't want that blurble from the Subaru sound. It's a V8. I didn't want that. So I'm very happy with how it sounded before I went and chopped it all up. So that's what we got done. There in the clip, I will say that I'm going to get the tank. And when I went to get the tank is when I also picked up the new billet alternator bracket. But like I said, unfortunately, I wasn't trying to drive. The price of the bottle wasn't too bad. It was like $30 for the bottle, but I was driving like an hour or so to go get it, to just end up with a second one of those. And it's not really worth it. I'd rather take the 2-minute drive down the street to the weld shop to have that one filled in extra time versus an hour drive to go get another bottle just to have an extra bottle sitting around. What else? I don't think we have anything too crazy. Sorry. I messed it up. I'm going to try and, I might cut that out. I'm trying to work on being better at the whole YouTube thing, and you're not supposed to curse. It's really bad, apparently. So eventually I'll figure that out. Maybe I'll have a Cletus impersonation. Gosh darn golly bee. It probably won't happen. But yeah, so picking away at it. But we're making progress. I'm making progress to the best of my ability while not dying in here, because like I said, it's pretty hot. It's 90 something degrees outside, which means in here it's about 100 and 105 at times. So to sit at this table and weld for multiple hours at a time was a lot to ask for. So I was taking breaks and I was drinking lots of fluids and doing all that stuff. But yeah, so enjoy the video. I'm gonna try and chop this introduction down quite a bit because there's a lot of stuff in here that we don't really need. But like, comment, share, subscribe. Appreciate you viewing, and get up and get after it. terrible. I'm getting there. Ignore all the ugly MIG welds from the old setup. But it's not terrible. We'll get it worked out. Alright, I'm starting to run out of gas on my little tiny bottle, so I'm not going to be able to get too much more done. That's obviously a MIG weld that was left over. I did go around and grind most of them down just to, excuse me, try and prevent some of that crap from happening. So, a few spots too hot, a few spots too cold. I do know that I definitely need to buy a different wire. This wire seems a bit thick for this material. It's not melting at the same rate, which is giving me some problems. So I'll probably pick up some wire today, and then I gotta figure out closing up this gap here. Obviously that tack didn't hold, and when it welded, it gave it a little Pac-Man mouth. So, but that's where we're at with the downpipe. My little tiny bottle that had, it wasn't full, it had about 1500 PSI in it. We've used about 1,000 so far. I'm giving it about 2 second pre-flow, and I'm post-flowing it for 6 to 8 seconds or so. It's on a manual control at the torch, so I can control my pre and post flow 100% myself. Yeah, and then I tried this thicker area down here. You can see it a little hot, lots of undercut there on this thinner pipe, not so much on the thick pipe. I may have to just crank up the amperage and aim more at the flange and not the piping. And then just looking at this, and I'm pretty sure this weld here is going to become one weld through this section. So it will connect from the flange and that butt at the same time in that tight little area there, just because it's going to be easier than trying to weld that small little space and then weld the flange itself. So I'll just do both, do a little bit of a bigger weld, and then yeah, I'm actually gonna text a guy right now about a bigger tank that I'm supposed to be picking up, and then I'll probably go run and do that, and we'll come back and we'll start making that bar material there into a seat bracket. So I'll be back. All right, we're having to relocate some of this header piping in order to fit the alternator on there, because, you know, street car. So this was the first piece. My starts and stops aren't that great, but I only had it for a day, so I'll learn. I gotta obviously fill that in. So not bad, not bad. And just because it's pretty, let's take a quick look at the Wuhan Warrior, my lovely 80mm. God, she's pretty. And soon she'll be on there, hopefully.